Coming up on the Hawkeye Sports Report, it was an atmosphere like none other last Friday night as Iowa knocked off #1 ranked Penn State. We'll recap the action and hear from the wrestling team as they now prepare for Nebraska and Illinois. And it was a rough weekend for the men's and women's basketball teams, both losing in the closing seconds. How will they bounce back this week? We'll have their reaction coming up. And for the third straight year, a former Hawkeye football player can call themselves Super Bowl champions. This year, it was 2 Hawkeyes on the winning team. This and much more right around the corner on the Hawkeye Sports Report. Hello again and welcome into the Hawkeye Sports Report. Friday night was about as big time of a matchup as you're going to get in college wrestling. The most decorated team in the history of the sport taking on the defending national champions and #1 team in the nation, Penn State.
More than 15,000 wrestling fans packed Carver Hawkeye Arena Friday for the showdown between Iowa and Penn State. The duel starts with a 1-2 showdown at 125 pounds, a rematch of last year's national championship match. Top-ranked Matt McDonough and second-ranked Nico Megaludis. This battle goes to the tiebreaker where McDonough rides Megaludis out, and then he escapes with 4 seconds left for a thrilling 2-1 win.
I don't really think of it as dodging bullets as much as just being stingy and, not letting a guy get what he wants on you, but going after what you got to do, and that's scoring takedowns. I didn't score any takedowns, so boom, right there. There's something to work on for the next time.
133 pounds, second-ranked Tony Ramos with the 8-4 lead, and that's when he pins Jordan Conaway 4 minutes and 23 seconds in.
One thing about Conaway, he will not quit. He'll keep coming at you. Whoa. This could be big. That's it. Fall. Ramos, huge pin for the Hawkeyes.
The third straight win for Iowa is a major decision by Mark Ballweg at 141. Ballweg, a 12-2 winner over Brian Pearsall, and the Hawks with a 13-0 team lead. After a loss at 149, top-ranked Derek St. John in a battle with 5th-ranked Dylan Alton at 157. Late in the third period, St. John trailing, but the takedown near the edge, and St. John remains unbeaten on the season with the narrow 4-3 victory. The Hawks dropped the 165 match, and then one of the matches that appeared to be a toss-up coming in, 6th-ranked Mike Evans comes up with a takedown for a 4-3 win over 4th-ranked Matt Brown. Iowa up 19-9.
When you lose 4-3, it's a kick in the rear, and when you win 4-3, it's still a kick in the rear. Because I got to start putting more points up.
With the Hawkeyes clinging to a 19-16 lead, it comes down to the heavyweights. Bobby Telford with a takedown in the first period. That leads to a 9-2 win for Telford and a 22-16 Iowa win over the top-ranked Nittany Lions.
I guess it's my 3rd time being in that situation, and I was 0-2 against Okie State, Minnesota, on some top-notch guys where I can make a statement.
Here's the thing, in the grand scheme of things, you got to get ready every week. This was a big one. We highlighted it. They highlighted it. Now we go forward. Sometimes, though, you can maybe smile a little bit. And probably smiling a little bit right now. Not to the point where you're slapping yourself on the back so much, but more, maybe there was some toughness.
We're here, we're fighting for that national title, and we can score a lot of points. We can score bonus points, we can get falls, we showed it all.
At Carver, Matt Nelson for HawkeyeSports.com.
Despite all the fireworks Friday night in Iowa City, the team is back to work as they prepare for Illinois and Nebraska this weekend.
How do you prevent a valley after a peak like that?
I think you talk about it, you hit it head on, you get over it quick. A lot of people in the community want to keep talking about it, but you don't really let it go there. You accept congratulations maybe, and it's a big deal. It was a big deal, but for us it's time to get over it, and we did get over it. We came in the next day and did our routine, stuck to our routine, and then we're getting ready for Illinois. And we even, and I think every program in America does this, is you start talking about the next thing on your schedule immediately. And so by 10:30 on Friday night, we were talking about the next step on our schedule.
For you, what's it like back-to-back Penn State and Illinois?
It's that part of the season. It's a good test of what you're going to face at the NCAA tournament. I mean, you're going to have a tough opponent every single match, and in this sport, in this school, and in this conference, that's how it is on a weekly basis. So it's nothing I haven't experienced before, and it's something that I'm going to be getting ready for.
Now, if Iowa beats both Illinois and Nebraska this weekend, they will lock up the regular season Big Ten title. And speaking of wrestling, let's check out this week's Play of the Week.
This week's Hawkeye Sports Report Play of the Week comes to us from Friday's wrestling battle with then top-ranked Penn State. At 133 pounds, Tony Ramos already in control of the match, but he scored valuable bonus points when he pinned Jordan Conaway 4 minutes and 23 seconds into the match. Tony Ramos with this week's Hawkeye Sports Report Play of the Week.
The Iowa men's basketball team returns 8 lettermen, including 3 starters, from a team that made its first postseason appearance in 6 years last season. The Hawkeyes now welcome in a nationally ranked recruiting class of 5 talented freshmen. The Hawks are on the rise. Order your Big Ten single game tickets today. Call 1-800-IA-HAWKS or visit HawkeyeSports.com.
Close games have not gone in favor of the men's basketball team this year. In fact, in conference play, they've lost by 4 points or less 4 times now after Sunday's heartbreaking loss at Minnesota. And things didn't get any easier Wednesday night as the Hawks had to travel up to Madison to take on the Badgers.
The Iowa men at the Kohl Center in Madison. Mike Gazelle leading the way for the Hawkeyes on this night. Here he knocks down the early 3. Gazelle with a team-high 14. Then the passing. Gazelle to Adam Woodbury for the jumper in the lane. Moments later, it's Melson Basabi with the baseline jumper. Basabi finished with 6 points and a team-high 8 rebounds. Now Iowa on the break. It's Anthony Clemens with a nice lob pass for Eric May. Tied at 15 midway through the first half. Late first half now, and Josh Oglesby with the 3 from the corner. Wisconsin's lead cut in half, just down to 3. The Hawkeyes actually trailed by 2 at halftime. In the second frame, Zach McCabe with a 3. McCabe finished with 10 points. More of the transition game we saw earlier, and again it's Clemens, this time ahead to Gabe Olashany. Count the bucket and the foul. Iowa with a 3-point lead. The lead swelled to 9 with 6.5 minutes left. But Wisconsin battled back. Tied under a minute left. Gazelle's shot partially blocked. The Badgers rebound. Aaron White with the steal, the bucket, and the free throw. Iowa looking good, up by 3. But then with 21 seconds left, Trayvon Jackson with a huge 3 to tie it up at 58. Iowa with one last chance. Oglesby's 3 just won't go. We go to overtime. Late in overtime, still tied. Wisconsin with a chance to win it. No, it won't go. Wisconsin with another chance to win it. That won't go either. Iowa heads to its first double overtime game against Wisconsin since 1977. But the Hawkeyes cannot overcome Sam Decker's 3-pointer with 1:34 left. Wisconsin pulls out a 74-70 win. Matt Nelson, Hawkeye Sports Report.
The road to the NCAA Women's Final Four begins in Iowa City, and you can be a part of the action, cheering for every dazzling dish. Nice no-look underneath. And watching the big shots fall. Nothing but net. Experience it live at the first and second rounds of the 2013 NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship.
When you're hot, you're hot.
March 24th and 26th at Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City, Iowa. Adult all-session tickets start at $25. Visit ncaa.com/tickets to make a date with champions.
And for the women's basketball team, after finally cracking the top 25 polls, the basketball gods were not so kind to them as they fell victim to both Illinois and Northwestern last week. Iowa led by as many as 12 points in the second half in Sunday's contest against Northwestern, but a full-court layup as time expired spelled doom and gloom for the Hawks. So now it's back to the drawing board as they enter their toughest stretch of the season.
A homecoming for a lot of our players, which is fun for them to go back home, but also there's a lot of personal pride on the line when you're from the state of Minnesota and you go back up there to play, and I'm sure that'll add a little bit of intensity to this rivalry that's always been pretty strong. We didn't go there last year, and so some of our players haven't had the opportunity to play in Williams Arena, which is kind of a different arena. It's got a different feel to it, but we've had some success up there in the past and in this rivalry, and obviously I think that'll give our kids a little bit of confidence.
We just need to win. I mean, we haven't been playing very good defensively or offensively, and it's all basketball, on the court stuff. And we had a couple team meetings and captains meetings and just trying to figure out, what's going on with us. And I think, just going out there and playing and having some fun and playing together.
We need to have fun out there. I mean, look at our faces. We were up most of the game, and I mean, it didn't look like we were having fun. So I think we're taking ourselves a little too seriously, and we just need to play our game because we're good when we do that.
Right now we're on a 2-game loss, and a lot of us are really bumming about that. But we've started to rebuild right now, and this Thursday win is really crucial if we want to do anything in the Big Ten. I mean, this is a momentum changer. So if we want to get back on the winning track before we have those big 2 games the next week, I mean, this is it. This is the one we got to get.
I've learned that it's definitely never over. This conference is crazy, and people beat people on any given night. And I think no matter what, our team just has to stay together and keep chipping away and keep getting better and working hard.
You got to get over it. In athletics, you got to learn how to bounce back. Otherwise, you're done. I mean, if you don't bounce back, you're done. So I think we will make a good point of that with our team today, is that yes, it stinks, but let's get over it. Let's move on to the next one and get ready to go up there and play a great game against Minnesota.
In some other Hawkeye action over the weekend, the men's tennis team earned a doubleheader sweep over Bradley and Western Illinois 5-2 and 7-0. Jonas Dirks, Matt Hagen, and Michael Swank all went 2-0 in singles play. Iowa's double team swept all 3 matches in both contests. The other bright spot on the weekend was the men's swimming team, as they swept the competition at the Northwestern Invitational, knocking off both Notre Dame, Missouri State, and Northwestern. Iowa earned 6 first-place finishes on the day. Let's now take a look at this week's Player of the Week.
125-pounder Matt McDonough won his 42nd consecutive match Friday, but it wasn't easy. McDonough escaped in the first tiebreaker period for a 2-1 win over second-ranked Nico Megaludis. Carver Hawkeye Arena erupted. McDonough was named the Big Ten Wrestler of the Week for his victory, and he is also this week's Hawkeye Sports Report Player of the Week.
And for the 3rd straight year, some former Hawkeye football players and a former coach will be able to call themselves Super Bowl champions. Brian Balaga did it 2 years ago with the Packers, Tyler Sash last year with the New York Giants, and this season both Marshall Yanda and Sean Considine helped the Baltimore Ravens defeat the San Francisco 49ers. It's also important to note Jim Caldwell, the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, was a former Hawkeye player and coach. Congratulations to all 3 guys on a great season. And finally, let's give you a glimpse of where the Hawkeyes will be competing coming up over the next week. Thursday, the women's basketball team will hit the road to Minneapolis as they look to get back on track That game will tip off at 7:30 p.m. and can be seen on the Big Ten Network. Friday the 8th will mark the opening weekend for the softball team as they head down to Houston, Texas. From Friday to Sunday, they will take part in 5 different contests. Also on Friday, the men's gymnastics team will host Minnesota at 1 p.m. in Iowa City. Also taking place in Iowa City, women's tennis at 5 p.m., men's and women's swimming and diving at 6 p.m., and then women's gymnastics at 7 p.m. So plenty of action going on right here in Iowa City on Friday. The wrestling team will hit the road to Illinois at 7 p.m. Friday, looking to come one step closer to earning the Big Ten regular season title. That match can be seen on the Big Ten Network. Men's golf will also be in action all day Friday down in Bradenton, Florida, as they open up Big Ten match play. And track will be competing either in the Cyclone Classic in Ames or the Tyson Invite in Arkansas. On Saturday, men's tennis will host a doubleheader at the Hawkeye Tennis and Recreation Complex against Creighton at 9:30 and Butler at 3:30. Also in Iowa City that day, the men's basketball team will host Northwestern in a 3:36 p.m. contest. Big Ten Network will have your coverage for that game. Sunday, Iowa wrestling will look to wrap up that Big Ten regular season title at 2 p.m. against Nebraska. That'll be right here in Iowa City and can be seen on Mediacom. Also on Sunday, women's tennis will hit the road to Chicago to take on DePaul. And finally, women's basketball will host a big-time showdown Monday night with Nebraska at 7:30 p.m. That game can also be seen on the Big Ten Network. Plenty of action right here in Iowa City as well as on television. Best of luck to everyone competing in the black and gold. Have a great weekend.